anybody want to ask a question? Yeah.
Yeah, can you turn it around? Yeah,
Or you can come here.
yes.
Yeah.
Can you see me now? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm kneeling to you. That's all. Don't take too much from that. I'm a retired teacher, and I do watch with interest what happens to Palestinian schools. And I understand that the Israelis are continuing to reduce the money available to schools. But worse than that, what worries me most of all is I understand that they are going to impose the curriculum onto Palestinian schools, or is that only in Israel? So that the only thing taught in Palestinian schools will be Israeli history, etc. Is there anything about, do you know anything about that? Can you confirm it? My name's David Jones, by the way. Should have introduced myself.
Thank you for question. I didn't hear the last part of the question. Sorry.
Could you repeat the last part, please?
Oh, my name's David Jones. And before that, I was talking about the curriculum for Palestinian schools. Now, I understand that, I don't know if it's funding for Palestinian schools in Israel or in the West Bank, but the Israelis are imposing their own curriculum, their own description of history to be available to, and not the Palestinian story of history. And on that is the funding. The way they're pressurizing school is they're making it conditional for funding. Because your taxes go to Israel, then come back to pay for education. That is true, yes?
Yes, I understand this, and this was, it's the pressure have to be from many ways, not just in the education. I know that in Israeli schools they teach the children how to hate the Palestinians, how they are a terrorist, a Palestinian terrorist, and we know that they was teaching their children in the school is all wrong thing. And it shows when we show fiber optic cameras to the students in Israel as a university, they was shocked. They didn't believe that it's happened in a few meters from them. And you can search about it in internet, Israeli students and fiber optic cameras. You can see the good response from the students that they shame the government, they shame the army, they didn't know about what's happened here in Palestine. So they educate their children as in wrong information. They didn't want them to know about the other side. They teach them that it's a Jewish land and it have to be a Jewish state. They didn't accept any other religions, any other Palestinians. But in the end, we see and we saw the truth will come out. And we have hope that to educate more people to understand the story and the real story. From our side as a Palestinians, we know that this is Palestine, and we working for a one state for everybody, one democratic state, to have a justice, quality, freedom for everybody. This is what we're working for. We're working for a better future for our children and all children. So we have a lot of Jewish people and lots of friends, Israeli friends who came and participate with us in the demonstration. We have lots of Jews who's come from outside as groups and as people to participate with us and to join us in our action. We have a lot of friends who are staying in our houses as a Jews. We are not against the Jewish people, we are against the occupation. And we want our freedom like everybody in the world. This is the message that the people have to understand. And what the Israelis propaganda told about in the media, and they have a strong media in Western media, and we as a Palestinian believe that the Zionists is control the Western media, that they want the people to understand that the problem is a religious problem. It's not a religious problem. The conflict is not a religious, it's an colonization, it's occupation. So this is the problem.
Thank you.
And we try to inform the people to send this message to many people in the world.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Zarina? Zarina, you want to come here and ask?
If you sit there, you might see.
You won't be able to see me.
Doesn't you can sit there, you'll see you.
He's looking through that little white light.
You can see you there.
Ehad,
No. You look at that.
I am Zarina. If you remember my name, I always supported you for your Bilin weekly input. And I wrote to you many, many times.
Thank you.
I've been to,
Who are you?
I've been to Palestine 3 times. And-
Zarina.
Yes, do you remember my name? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so delighted. I am really pleased. You made my day.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Ehad, I know many times in the demonstrations there were ISM. I had joined ISM from London, then I went and did the training in Ramallah as well, but I could never go to Bilin, but I did participate in kneeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my goodness, the family in Bilin was treated so badly. They housed many of us for the day, but in your case, you were injured many times. They arrested you, you had blood pouring out. Tell us a little bit about that, because ISM were with you. As Naim says, there were sometimes thousands of people, sometimes there were a few Palestinians, but each time Israeli IDF treated people so badly, as you said, with tear gas, and we used onions to deter us from tear gas affecting our eyes. We were trained to do that, and rubber bullets. I even brought one as a souvenir, but somebody nicked it, somebody stole it from my mantelpiece where I had it. And the rubber bullets were so nasty because they had metal at the end. So rubber bullets were not rubber. Tell us a little bit about how many times you were injured. So good to see you.
Yes, I don't know how many times. I stopped account
I bet.
how many times I've been injured, but also it's many times that I've been injured and they arrested me. And the bad thing, when you've been injured and they arrested you. So a few months ago, as I said, when they attacked me and broke in 2 ribs in my chest, they beating me in all my body, and they arrested me. So when they arrested me, as in this bad situation, they tie my hands and they tie my eyes. When they tie my eyes, they spray tear gas in the thing that they put it in my eyes. So this make you feel that how much these people hate you. They arrested me for 10 hours, and after the 10 hours, they throw me in the near a settlement. It's a settler roads in the middle of the night, and you know how much it's a danger to be in a settler road in the middle of the night and to be injured. You need hospital. They arrested me, and I was tell them to take me to the hospital. They was loathing to me. So this is the problem. It's not to be like, and it's not a rubber bullet. It's not a tear gas. That's what they tried to say. It's a rubber coat steel bullet. It's more danger than the life bullet sometimes. tear gas canisters, and we have many problems with our people in their body because of these tear gas canisters that they use it against us in the demonstration. But also, you know, it's not, the problem is not in our side. We didn't like to go to demonstration to be injured or arrested or shot, but we're going to, because there is no other way to have our freedom, like everybody.
Thank you for answering my
Thank you.
question. It's really
Anybody?
lovely to see.
Yes, Stuart.
Thank you, Zarina.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Stuart Richardson. I wanted to ask a question about intermarriage between Palestinians and Jewish people, because on Thursday we had a very impressive contribution from a Jewish socialist who'd been suspended from the Labour Party because he had compared the marriage laws in Nazi Germany, which of course Jews were not allowed to marry non-Jews, to the situation in Israel, where it's probably not formally part of the law that Jews cannot marry Palestinians, but it's very, very disapproved of, and great hostility towards intermarriage. Could you say a little bit more about that and what's your experience of, because he used that as an example showing that it's an apartheid state. And just lastly, could you say a little bit more about your support for a one-state solution, which I think, which I've always supported, but we don't want to legitimize Israel as a Zionist Jewish state by saying there should be two states? If you could just answer those points, thanks.
Yes, I think the only solution now is the one-state solution, because the Zionists has killed the two-state solution. There is no more two states. If you go to the map and you can see, it's 12% from the Palestinian historic land that they left. It's left for the Palestinians, and this 12% is like containers. They cut it to pieces. There is 700,000 settlers lived in West Bank, 250 settlements. So there is no place for the two-state solution. They kill the solution of two states. For me, as a Palestinian, I see in the ground that the Zionists, they didn't want one state or two states. First, because they are continue until now to build more settlements, to bring more settlers to the West Bank area, where is the Palestinian land and the Palestinian people. So when you talk about 700,000 settlers, it's a big number in West Bank. So the only way now to fight is one state solution. And it didn't come like in a negotiation with the Zionists, because we know the goal of the Zionists is for a Jewish state, not one state solution. So we have to fight to put more pressure on the Israeli government to accept the solution from the people outside, from the resistance. So this is the only way that we can fight to have the one state, democratic state, to have justice, peace, equality for everybody.
Could you say something about pressure in Israel against mixed marriages? What's your experience or knowledge of that?
Russia?
No, mixed marriages between Jewish and
Mixed.
Palestinians.
Look, I think Jewish is not our enemies. The occupation is our problem. We are not against the Jewish people, we are against the occupation. We have lots of Jewish people who's coming and staying with us in our houses, eating together. Lots of Jewish is our friends. And it's not as Muslims and Jewish, I think it's no problem to be married, but there is no contact between the Palestinian people and the Israelis people. You cannot say the Jewish people because it's not religious, it's like a Zionist occupation. But if you go to the Israeli community, it's close. That they didn't give their people to be in contact with the Palestinian people. They teach him just how to hate the Palestinians. They didn't want him to be in touch with people in the ground. And we have many Israeli activists who came to participate with us, and they was putting for them checkpoints. They was arrested them. They didn't want them to come to our side. If you go inside of Israel and ask everybody, especially the youth, they hate the Palestinians people. And this is the way how they teach them to do. So it's first we have to make a bridges, not a walls. And this government that comes year after year and time after time in Israel, it's like a terrorist government. They didn't want anybody of their people to be in touch with the Palestinians. This is the problem. And also the media inside of Israel, it's very close. That they didn't tell there is people what's happened in other side about the life of the Palestinian. They want to show them that the Palestinians is a terrorist and they want to kill us and all these things in their community. So there is no contact between the Palestinian communities and the Israeli community in the ground.
He also made the point about education, and he said that the Zionists deliberately separate the communities, and there were only 6 schools in Israel which have both Arabs, Palestinians, and Jewish people attending. So that, you know, it's a characteristic of a racist state by having segregated schools, segregated marriage laws, you know, which also occurred in, of course, in the southern states of the United States until the 60s. But anyway, I'll probably stop. Good. Are you familiar with how they segregate the education? What's inside Israel, you know?
Excuse me?
The Jewish speaker, who was a critic of Zionism on Thursday, tried to give a picture of Israel as an apartheid state. And the examples he gave was the virtual ban on mixed marriages, but also the fact that schools in Israel are segregated between Palestinian Arab children and Jewish children. And there were only 6 schools in the whole of Israel.
Yes. If you want to talk about the apartheid, it's in many steps, many levels that's in Israel, and it's apartheid country with various people also. And if you, for example, if you go to the ID or the passport of the Israeli people, it's not the same number that they give them. For example, they give the Ashkenazim who came from Europe, United States, they give him number 1. The Jews who came from Arabs country is number 2. Jews who came from Russia and Ethiopia, they give him number 3 and 4. The Palestinians who have Israeli ID and living inside, they give him number 5. Palestinians who's living in Jerusalem, number 6. So it's different laws that they use against the people inside, and there is people, and there is the same ID that they have. In the schools, in the roads also, as you heard many times, settlers' roads. They didn't let the Palestinians to go in these roads. And if you go to the settlers' road, you can see it as very nice, big, and all this. Palestinian roads is broken and small roads. So it's different between also the apartheid in the system of the government there.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else? Yeah, go to come here.
Hello, my name is Tari Atwell. I want to know any difference now because we don't hear any news from Palestine in our media in UK since Syrian war. Is it affecting more? Because I know Israelis heavily involved in that war. That war is not civil war, it's a proxy war, nearly 80 countries, people fighting there. But I haven't seen anybody fighting for you in there. And how affecting you now when Israelis involving in other war? Second question, I respect Palestinian people. When I was there, I think that's why I respect, because nobody said we hate Jewish people. And now you confirming same thing. That's a very great, that's a top human being people you are, and I respect that. Thank you.
I think it's not, you cannot say it's a war. It's not a war here in Palestine. It's a massacre. It's not, you cannot put the two people in the same level. It's occupation and people under the occupation. It's criminals and victims. And this is what's happened on the ground. Why the people didn't talk about this outside? Because of the media, as I said, you said. Media is controlled by the Zionist media. They have a strong media in the United States, in Europe, in England, everywhere. They have lots of media. That's it. They have the power, they have the support from the media and from the countries also. And if you go to the United States, for example, it's $4 billion a year, it goes to the Israeli army. And they know that this money goes to kill other people in the war. They know that this money goes to build more settlements in the Palestinian land. They know that this money goes to kill our children. And they support them because they control the Congress there. They get a lot of support from England in this time. And we hope that it will be stopped and people will understand the truth, as you have in England today, that we heard that Jeremy Corbyn is win in the elections, and he's and we hope that he can do something in the parliament to inform the people and to put more pressure in the parliament to support the Palestinians and to stop support the occupation. As I said, we are not against the Jewish people. We never hate Jewish people. We have a lot of friends, Jewish, who's coming and staying with us. It's not a religious. It's a occupation. It's colonization.
Thank you, that's a strong point. Thank you for that point.
Do you want to comment anything on the effect that the Syrian war in Syria is having on Palestine?
Sorry?
Do you want to comment on what is happening in Syria and the effect it is having on Palestinians?
Yes, you know, it's first in Syria we have the Palestinian refugees who also live in Syria and they affected by the war in Syria. And it's, you know, in my opinion, that's what's happened in Syria is made by the Western countries that they didn't want, and what they're doing now they want to send a message that Muslims people is a terrorist people, and why they support ISIS, and it's a terrorist organization, just to make the Islam as a terrorist people. This is what they're doing now, and it's all the support that comes from outside to ISIS, it came from Western countries and from United States. And who's make this happen? Why this organization came to ISIS? It's affected the Palestinians people, it's affected the Muslims people, it's affected all the Arab countries. And the only one who's happy with that is the Israeli occupation. And they support them. And I think they made it. The occupation, the Zionists, they have the power. They made the ISIS. And for me, as when I said that Iraq was the strongest country in the Middle East, and they destroyed it, the United States destroyed it in 21 days. Why they cannot destroy ISIS? So, because they support them. They didn't want them to be destroyed. They're fighting for them. So I think, yes, it's affected the Palestinians, it's affected the Muslims, it's affected the everybody who's support the justice and the freedom.
Welcome. Hello. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little something about the community that you represent, the community of Bilin, in particular how you organize the protests as a community, how you cope with the Israeli violence? I'm curious, interested to know just how you manage these demonstrations as a community and how it affects your community.
Yes, as I said, we built our popular committee in 2005, the beginning of 2005, and we started our weekly demonstration in February 2005. So we invite all the people in the village and all the organizations, and village council and the parties in the village, and we choose the popular committee. We have voted and we choose the popular committee, and we started to have meetings every week. It was the meeting in Tuesday normally to see what we did in the last demonstration and what we are going to do of the next demonstration. But in this time we have not just the committee in Bilin, we have popular committees in West Bank. That we have about 15 places that have the popular committees, and we have from each place that a member in this steering committee. So we have meetings when we need it, and we organize ourselves. We have ideas. So from this we become have our demonstration. So we have decided to do a demonstration. For example, we invite all the members and we have a meeting. We decided for the action that we go to do.
And where does your medical aid come from?
Medical?
Yes.
Medical
aid.
Your medical aid. Where do you get medical aid from?
The medical?
Help.
help. Where do you get the money for medicine, for health treatment and things like that? Does that
Yes, we have hospitals here in Ramallah and other in Jerusalem, but it's difficult to go to Jerusalem. As I said, they send people outside, and most of the medical support that comes from the hospitals from the Palestinian Authority, because they take care of the surgeries of the people when they injure. About the people who have treatment, to continue the treatment, we didn't have a specific organization that support the people, the medical care here. Sometimes it comes from international supporters as a personal. Sometimes it comes as a donation from people. So it's different, but also it's still hard to get treatment to the people here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ehad, have you heard of Medical Aid for Palestine? It's an organization called Medical Aid for Palestine that's international.
No.
No. Okay. Yes, Jill.
Hello, Ayad. Can you
Hello.
hear me? Hello. I have been taking the photographs of the village, of your village around in Birmingham. I just want you to tell the children that many, many people have loved the pictures, and through the pictures they have got interested in the situation in Bilin, in the situation in Palestine. And there are so many children have seen the pictures, and they know that children have taken the photographs, and it has been very moving for them. And I would just like the children to know that there are many people who have been interested because of this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else wants to ask a question? Yes, but
Hello, it's been very nice being in contact with you today, and it's a marvelous technology, but it would be nice to see you personally here sometime. Do you think it's ever possible sometime in the future for you to get to Birmingham?
Thank you.
Thank you.
did you hear that? But perhaps you can explain why you were not able to come to Birmingham this time. Ehad, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, it was, the sound was no clear, I understand now.
Sure.
I've been in England 4 times. I just been there last November. I did meetings here in there in London, in Manchester, other cities. I've been in all around England, Liverpool, London, Manchester, Birmingham, Brighton, Scotland, Belfast, all these places. But this time I didn't know they refused to give me the visa, and I feel it was after the what's published in the Jewish news in England, and they call me anti-Semitic, and it was in the newspaper of the Jewish, and it's published in England. That's many people saw that, and they didn't want me to come to speak outside. I know it's affected the Zionist people, our speech outside, and they many times want to put more pressure on the governments to didn't give me the visa. So it's been the why I am not there, because they refuse to give me the visa.
Thank you. It's been most inspiring to listen to you today, and thank you very
Inshallah.
much.
Next time, inshallah, we will be able to come and to see you by person.
Can you
Yes,
ask
good.
what's the reason British Embassy has given that to do a visa?
It's just that because of the article in the
No, they didn't give.
Not the British Embassy.
Ehad, can you hear me?
Yes?
I think it's been asked what official reason did the British commissioner gave you, the embassy in Palestine, for refusing your visa? What was the official reason?
Why they refuse?
Yeah.
Yes, they said that I have been refused in 2008, and I didn't mention this in the application. But they gave me a visa after that in 2010, in 2000. Just last November, I had the visa. In June 2015, I have the visa. So it's the reason is 2008. You enter the airport without visa. In that time, I was going to Ireland, and by mistake, the company who's make for me the ticket, they did it in the British airline, and they have to cross Heathrow Airport. We didn't know that it's illegal to be there, or they cannot accept transit plane to Ireland. And they told me that it's you don't have a visa, and I came back from another way, and there is no problem was. But I find it in the when they send the application, the visa, that they refused to give me a visa. They never refused to give me a visa. The only problem is when I enter Heathrow Airport going to Ireland.
Is that clear?
And it was long time ago when they asking in the application. It was if they refuse you to give you a visa in 3 years, and in 3 years they didn't refuse me to give a visa because I had the visa 2 times to UK.
Does anybody else want to ask a question? Perhaps you can tell us that how we can, I mean, you're talking about in your book about the resistance to the occupation, and you're emphasizing that the international resistance also is part and parcel of that resistance. Can you tell us how we in Britain can help resist the occupation in Palestine?
Yes, I think it's a good way to join the BDS movement in England, to put more pressure in the government, to send message to your members in the parliament, in the government, and to inform them about the situation in Palestine, to have more informed people, to educate people about the situation in Palestine. Also, it's very important that people didn't know about the situation here in Palestine and the life of the Palestinian under the occupation. They didn't know because of the media there. So we have to inform the people in England about what's happened here, especially that the Palestinians know that the problem started from the British government there, that's who bring the occupation to Palestine. And we have to inform more people, educate people to come and to join the struggle against the occupation and to work together for justice and peace and equality. Thank you.
Anybody else wants to ask any question? Perhaps, I mean, I think next year is going to be 2017, which is going to be the centenary of the Balfour Declaration. Do you think that what is the future for Palestine from that?
The future?
Yep.
I think we will succeed. We have hope to continue for a better future, and we will see a good future soon, inshallah. With your support, with our resistance in the ground, we will have the way to the solution.
Thank you.
I think we are all very grateful that you have taken so much effort to be with us today and to explain to us the situation in Palestine. we know how, horrendous all the arrangements you have been trying to make to come to Britain and then not getting the visa and everything. And Skype has also not been very easy, but I think we have actually resisted in some way. The British government denying us to hear about the occupation. So I think we have made one more victory today in that sense. So we thank you. But I think what I will say to the audience is that Ehad's book on the resistance in Bilin is very informative, and especially it could be very useful if we use it to mobilize and also particularly to campaign why people from Palestine cannot come to Britain and to talk about the occupation, because this is not the first meeting that we have had disrupted like this. Earlier this year we had invited somebody else from the West Bank, and she was refused visa at the last minute, and we had to cancel some of the meetings. So I thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll keep in touch, and we'll be meeting like this again. Thank you very much. Do you want to make any last comments, Ehad, or?
Thank you, and I hope to see you, inshallah, soon in Palestine or in UK. And keep in touch, keep your good work, fighting for the justice and humanity. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Naim.
Yes. Okay, Ehad. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.